Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jagradev, Jai Masters. There are certain very, very great advantages to the time in which you live with the technology. So, for example, there's this stuff called VR, virtual reality. Maybe you played with it, you wear a goggle, and you're in another world. But you're in a world that somebody else made. Maybe they make them now, or you can adjust it yourself and so on. But basically, somebody programmed the world. The problem is, you don't realize you already live in VR. You're in psyche. What is the psyche? It is an energy field that's malleable. This field down here is malleable, but you got to make big factories to melt the metal and structure different things and carve the wood and build the cars. So it's not very malleable. It's just somewhat malleable. But the psychic field of energy, it's totally malleable. You literally can affect it with your thoughts. In fact, it is your thoughts. You can affect it with your will. You can affect it with just intention. Will create something. And you don't realize it, but you do realize it. You're just so lost in it. If I tell you to create a boat, to see a boat, you can make a boat. How hard was that? How many people do you have to hire? How many factories do you have to build? You made a boat. I have met psychics that would see that boat. That's not a big deal to them. They would see the boat you made because it's a real thing. It just doesn't exist on this plane. And there are yogis and people that have powers who have the ability to take that which they made out of the psychic field of energy and have it drop down onto this plane. Did you know that? We have a icon of Shirdi Sai Baba, a different Sai Baba. Satya Sai Baba was a very great soul, very popular. He had the ability to do that, and he did it all the time. There was this stuff called Verbudi, and he would just, I guess, imagine it in his mind, another level, and hold up a vase, and this ash would come flowing with like hurricanes worth, pouring out of the vase, and mounds of it, and fit in the vase, and he did it anytime he wanted. And some people say that when some of his disciples were getting married, he manifested a ring. You all call those miracles. I don't call them miracles. They're not miracles. They're no more of a miracle than water becomes ice. That steam vapor becomes water, becomes ice. Is that a miracle? No. He just slow down the vibration rate of the molecules. That's all he's doing, is slowing down the vibration rate of much higher vibration molecules, not molecules, right? But energy at a much higher rate. For whatever reason, he had the ability to slow it down and pops down on his plane. Many masters are able to do that. I swear to God, I do not see it as a miracle. You feel the Shakti enough, you start realizing every single one of you has the ability to create thoughts. Do you not? Well, where are they? What are they made out of? They're things. Thoughts are things. They can affect you, can't they? Can your thoughts affect your body? Can you get ulcers due to your thoughts? We're so used to it, we don't pay attention to what's going on. The point is, you have the ability to create an object on a higher vibration plane that not a single instrument for billions of dollars has anyone created yet that can pick up that thought. Yet everybody has the thoughts. They just don't pay attention. It's so funny. Where do you think the thought is made? Where do you think it comes from? Can you create a thought and it keeps coming back and you can't get rid of it? Yes or no? What is it? When you go deep enough to where there are no thoughts, you go deep enough in meditation, go deep, and then you come back, they're in slow motion. You can watch it, you can create it. Can you pick up on other people's thoughts? Can you pick up on other people's emotions? Have you ever sat in a car and you're sitting there with somebody, and all of a sudden you both say the same thing at the exact same time that has never been discussed for years and years? For some reason, that thought popped in both your minds at the same time. Okay? Well, I don't know if it popped in mind at the same time or somebody started it and the other picked it up. You pick up thoughts and emotions all the time. We're just not paying attention. I don't want to call it psychic. Psychic is implying that there's not a higher vibration plane in the universe where thoughts exist. Well, of course there is. You deal with them all the time. Can you get tired through thinking? Can you attempt to hold a blackboard and write 1,432 times 32 and try to multiply it out, and you have trouble and it fades in and out, and sometimes you do it better days, you can do it than others, yes or no? You have a higher vibration plane. Let's talk about that. This plane, what we call physical plane, the physics deals with the physical plane, is made of atoms. What is an atom? Now we understand what an atom is. It's not a thing. There are no electrons, neutrons, and protons. They're not particles. They're the quantum field. They're just vibrations. They're vibrations in a field of energy. Well, that's pretty neat. So even matter isn't solid. It's not what you think it is. I teach you this because you should understand the basics of what our scientists have found so far. They have found out that there are not particles. There are just wavelets in an energy field that behave a certain way. And that way that they behave and interact together make it appear they behave as, like they say, there's not an electron. Well, sure there's an electron. We know, we've seen it. It circles around the nucleus. No. That's not what they have found out. They found out that there are wavelets in the quantum field, thousands, millions, trillions of them. And the probability that they will show up and interact at a certain spot is the best they can do. So it's just a field of probabilities what an electron is. I'm not going to teach you, I couldn't teach you quantum physics, I don't know it, but I know enough to where I'm interested in what they have found. And I'm sharing it with you. That's so complicated, is it? It's a field of energy, but when you look down at it, you see its behavior. They interact together to create these force fields and interactions that end up being what we see as electrons, neutrons, and protons. So even this field, this physical reality, is not a physical reality. It is energy interacting with energy, like Einstein. Matter is energy is matter, and the difference is just a temporary state. Ice is water is ice, the difference is a temporary state. So you have to move it down to a level you know. Why don't you see it as a miracle? It's solid all of a sudden, just because it got cold. That's a miracle. What if you didn't know why or anything about it? Why did cold make that happen? Because cold slows down the vibration rates, the movements of the molecules. Therefore, they bond together tighter. Therefore, you can walk on ice. You can walk on water, just like Christ did. Just get it cold enough. So all we're talking about is we know that there are planes. What is a plane? A vibration rate. There are vibration rates of things that are not made of matter, that are not made of atoms. What? Thoughts. I love the fact that a physicist, great physicist, is studying this, say, no, here we have the electromagnetic spectrum, and we didn't used to know that there was ultraviolet. So when they defined the spectrum back when they'd have instruments, it was tiny, and now it's spread out. Does that mean the physical plane got better? No, you just were able to measure it. Someday, and I will not be here, thank God, they will be able to pick up your thoughts. That's a very sad time. When they can start reading your thoughts, whew, that's tough stuff. They will be able to. Why? Because they're there. Just like they were able to pick up these broader range of the magnetic spectrum. They will be able to have instruments that are sensitive enough to pick up the higher vibration rates that your thoughts are made of. That's the only difference, is they're made of a vibration rate that is so subtle, so high, such a high frequency that we have not developed any instruments that are capable of picking it up. Well, then how do you know it's there? Because you picked them up. Your consciousness, this thing you called your mind. By the way, your mind is an instrument that can pick up that vibration rate of energy. That's what your mind is. So there's a field of energy, and this thing you call my mind is able to pick up the vibration rates in that field. The scientists can't do it, but everyone can do it. And they can do it. That's what I think is hilarious. They say, no, there's no such thing. Well, then why are you using thoughts to study and build things, right? It's just they don't look inside. They don't look outside. But you're yogis and yoginis. You look inside. So that's all that's happening. It's not miracles. It's not weird. There's just higher vibration rates of energy, which you know there are because you know you have thoughts and you know you have emotions. They can't sit there and say, no, they're not there. How about this? If you tell a scientist, very strict conservative physicist, I have emotion, I have thoughts. They say, no, you don't. They're just a figment of your imagination. Well, what's that? It's still something that exists, okay? They know you have this. All right? What are your dreams? Do you have dreams? Do you get in them and walk around? What are those made of? Where are they? What is that? Oh, they're just in your mind. What is that? That's a cop-out. Your dreams are real things. They're real things. They're at a higher vibration rate of energy, and you have the ability to create them and experience them, don't you? They exist just the same as this plane exists. They're just at a higher vibration rate that your physical senses can't pick up, but a psychic can, and yours can also. That's why you know your thoughts. You're psychic. How's that? You're picking up the higher vibration rates every single minute of every day when you deal with your thoughts and emotions. So what's the big deal that somebody got so evolved or their will is so strong or they learned the rules that they can create something in their mind on that plane, just like water or steam, and then slow down the vibration rate, and all of a sudden it plops down on this plane? Is that a miracle? Everything's a miracle that you don't understand. The minute you understand it, not a miracle. They didn't used to be able to see inside your body and see your skeleton. But then they saw that X-rays, a high vibration rate of energy, can pass through and they can image it. Now, it's not weird. It's not a miracle, is it? What would you do in the old days, whether there was any X-rays, anything like that, and somebody fell down, your child fell down, you took it to a medical healer, weird witch guy, and he looked at your body and he sat there and said, all right, the femur is broken over here and this is broken over there, just without him touching anything to anything, right? How's that possible? Well, X-rays do it, don't they? So these things you call miracles are just because you haven't developed the knowledge, the instruments to be able to pick up reality. So the fact that somebody can manifest in psychokinesis, bend spoons and all these things, they're real. Are there a lot of fakes running around? You bet there are. There are probably way more fakes running around, magicians and so on. But it's reality. Okay, so we're talking virtual reality. What have you done? Now I laid the groundwork. So you have access, you in there, not your hand, hear me, but you in there, you, the willful soul that's in there, have the ability to create thoughts. Can you think about a city? Can you bring back a past event? Can you not bring back a past event? You understand that? They create, they're there. That's your virtual reality. You have the ability to create on that plane whatever your will intent does. What have you done with that ability to create? This is what's important. That's what your psyche is. You've taken that energy and you took past experience that you had and you started storing. I want to teach you this. You started storing ones that you had before. I created this image of my girlfriend leaving me, walking off to the sunset. It doesn't leave me. It stays there. Every time I see a sunset, I get upset. What did you do? You stored that. That was a mental thought image, and you stored it. Where? Inside the mental plane. Most of your thoughts come and go. Some of them don't. Most of your emotions come and go. Some of them don't. Why didn't they? What stopped them? Nothing stopped them. You stopped them. Your will is the strongest force in your being. It happens to be the strongest force in the universe, but not while it's yours. While it's yours, you've limited it. Your will is what created the universe. You make me cry. The only reason your will is limited to your mind is because you keep it there. If you get further back, anything, everything, there's no limit to who you are. Your consciousness is everything, everywhere. Well, why don't I experience that? Because you're staring at your thoughts. If I stare at a picture and nothing else, that's all I see. That's my whole universe, isn't it? So it's not anything weird or mystical. The fact is, your consciousness is staring at your thoughts, staring at your emotions, staring at what's coming through your senses. Therefore, you're limited to that. Are you limited to that? Of course you're not limited to that. Stop staring at it, you'll see the rest. I always say to you guys, you're so close right now, and not just right now, all the time, you don't realize it, you're looking in front of you. Do you understand that? You're looking in front of you. How often do you look behind you without turning around? Never. Therefore, you're only seeing what's in front of you. Is there a behind you? It's the same thing inside. You don't realize it. You're always looking in front of you. You'll realize when you go deep enough inside, you realize, oh my God, I'm looking down, in front and down at my thoughts. That's where my thoughts are, in front and down from where I sit inside. That's where my emotions are, in front and down. Well, isn't there a behind? Of course there's a behind. There's no spot in the universe. The universe is the universe. What happens if you turn around? You're enlightened. That is what enlightenment is. It's ceasing to stare at this tiny, tiny part of the universe. How tiny is it? Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and what's in front of you at any given moment. How small is that compared to what is? Therefore, that's why you're limited to that. If you don't keep staring at that, you all of a sudden realize I'm in here and I have it behind. You turn around and all of a sudden it's the whole universe. You're everywhere at once because you didn't limit yourself. Does anybody understand that? I'm trying to give you analogies, right? It's not weird. Enlightenment is not weird. Spirituality is not weird. What's weird is that I'm going to sit there and stare at my thumb. Where'd you guys go? Did you leave? I don't know. I'm staring at my thumb. Oh, there you are. That's enlightenment. Shh. That's how close you are. It's not something you have to do. It's something you have to stop doing. You have to stop staring at this tiny little thing. All right. So events happen in your life, and some of them you hold on to. We discuss it all the time. Those are some scars. Events that you are not comfortable with or you are very comfortable with, you don't want to go away. But the world keeps moving. Not a single thing that ever stayed in the same place, ever for a nanosecond. Every single thing is changing. You're aging. You're moving. You're outside. You're inside. Where are you? Your hair's turning gray. It's growing. Everything's changing. No atom stays in the same place. Okay? But you don't want it to go away. Either because you didn't like it, and therefore you weren't able to handle it. Therefore you resist. This is key. You resist it. You used your will. That same will that can do everything. That same will that Sajai Baba was able to manifest. He used the will. So stuff drops. You use your will to hold on to that thought pattern. To hold on to that emotion pattern. You will not let it go. Why? Because you like it so much? No, because you don't like it. Therefore, you don't want to feel it. If I don't want to feel it, what do? I push it away. When you push it away, it stays. It's called resistance. You resisted it, and by resisting it, where's it going to go? It can't go past you. It's energy interacting with energy. Understand that? Here on the physical plane, we have form interacting with form. So when you build the Hoover Dam, there's this solid form thing. And when the Colorado River, which isn't solid, it's water, it's liquid, hits that dam, what happens? It splashes back, it circles, it can't go through. That's what you've done with those thought forms that got created in your mind that you did not want to experience. You used your will, you in there, used your will to push them away. Where did they go? They didn't go anywhere. They stopped at the force of your will, which was more solid than the energy. And I told you, they circled around themselves. The only way that energy can stay in one place is a circle. That's why a circle is such a tremendous structure on this plane. All right? So the energy needs to move. And so it circles and it stays there. That's what you started building inside your mental plane. You started building a collection of these things that you either liked or didn't like, and you built them like bricks of building a house. You held them in there. That's what you started to do with this mental plane that could do anything, go anywhere. You can think of Pluto. Poor Pluto, all right? You can think of the universe. You can think of galaxies. You can think of anything you want, can't you? You can develop any thought form you want inside. But the trouble is, some of these you couldn't handle. And so you liked it a lot, so you grabbed onto it. You didn't like it a lot, so you resisted it. Both of them stayed. And you start to build this structure inside this infinite mind plane. Like the quantum field is omnipresent. Well, your mind is omnipresent. Your mental plane is omnipresent. It's everywhere. It's all the time. But you hold on to these certain things inside of it, and then you get fixated on them. Why? Because I either liked it, that's why I'm holding on to it. I didn't like it, that's why I'm resisting it. And now my consciousness is fixated, is totally focused on keeping it or resisting it. So the event happened 2 years ago, it's still in there. Can the emotions come back? Can the whole freaky thing of everything you didn't like come back and freak you out? Yes or no? Does it in your dreams? Does it if somebody says something? Does it when you go home? Does it when you go to your high school reunion, you see somebody? Does it come back? That's because you stored it in there. This is not weird stuff. Psychology is no more interesting than physics. It's just physics at a higher vibration rate. So you held this thing in there. And so now you started collecting these things. And eventually what you did is build a virtual reality inside your mind's plane made out of the past experience that you couldn't handle. You couldn't handle going to keep them. Couldn't handle means I couldn't let it go through. You know what you handle really well? Most of you, the white lines on a road. They go right through. The trees as you drive by in the forest. Okay? But not everybody. Somebody that fell out of a certain kind of tree when they were little and they drove by and this reminded them, wait, stop. Oh my God, that tree wasn't the same as everything else. Of course it's the same as everything else, but not to you because you stored the stuff inside. So if you put on that virtual reality goggle, depending on what's going on, you may have trouble with it. But it's not real. It's not real. If you stop staring at your thoughts, they're not real. The past doesn't exist anymore. You make me cry. Not a single atom that was in the past that is now. It's making something else. But you held it in there. You made it become this house of horrors. That's what you built in there, a house of horrors, didn't you? You stored every single thing that ever bothered you before. What do? I have this traumatic thing that happened to me when I was 5. How old are you now? 75. But I've never been able to get rid of it. It's bothered me my whole life. How in the world can that happen? The event can never happen again. It didn't ever happen again, but you held it inside. You built I'm trying to get to it. You built a virtual reality inside your mind, with your mind. That's what the virtual reality is, what you built. And yours is different than yours, different than yours, different than yours, and they're a horror show. Do you understand that? And I'm not just talking about traumatic events. I want to play this out. What if you put on the virtual reality goggles and you're in this world, right? There's a whole world going on in there, and you're looking, and all of a sudden someone comes and says, how did you do that? I can't believe you did that. You're in big trouble. You're getting scared. It's not real. It's a virtual. It doesn't matter. And now somebody else says to you something, right? You start storing inside yourself that I shouldn't do this. I should do that. You start building a superego. You start building an ego. Who am I? What's it called? Or your avatar, as they call it, don't they? What's your avatar? That which you made up about yourself in this stupid little world that doesn't exist. That's who I am. I'll dress accordingly. I'll act accordingly. And people better interact with me accordingly. You built, and that's what your psyche is. It's nothing but a VR that you built inside your own mind that you have now buried your consciousness into and can't get it out. What if you put those glasses on, your goggles, and you can't take them off? And they're freaking you, starting to cry and screaming. Nobody can help you because you're in there in your own virtual reality. That is what the psyche is. That's the psychology studying. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's just something you had this ability to be anything. Microsoft, where do you want to go today? Anything. You do anything you want with your mind. Do you understand that? You do anything you want. There's no limit to what your mind can do. Think of a galaxy far, far away. Just think of anything you want. It does it, doesn't it? But you can't keep it there. Why? Because it keeps being pulled back to this VR stuff that you stored in there. The galaxy far, far away doesn't keep coming back. What you do with your sister when you were little, or when this, or your boyfriend left you, or this, or the fact that you had a little zit on your face when you went to the junior high prom, and you just did that inside the virtual reality you created in your mind. And now you're caught in it. That's the key. Why am I spending so much time with it? You're caught in the darn thing. You can't get out, can you? Do you ever feel guilt? Do you like the feeling of guilt? Well, you made it up. Look, his beard, his father told him once, do not ever grow a beard like that. And now his father's dead, and he likes the beard a lot, right? But he feels guilty every time he looks at a picture of his father. And like, can you do that to yourself? Do you do that to yourself? You ever feel guilty about something that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when you see somebody? Fears. Anybody self-conscious? Afraid to be in public and talk publicly and speak and see somebody? What if you see somebody that you think you did something wrong the last time you saw them? How do you feel when you see them now? Now what comes back up? You did this. You did this to yourself. People say, is it possible to let this go? Is it possible to not carry this guilt? Is it possible not to carry this fear that something almost happened once in a while? It didn't happen, but it almost happened. And now I'm afraid all the time that it's going to happen. How do I get rid of that? I've been through therapists, I've been through therapy, and then everything. And it's still, you know anything about this? Anybody relate? Okay. Now I just told you where that came from. You did that. They won't tell you that. An event happened, and you formulated inside your virtual reality. Trouble is, it's so easy to build that thing, they don't even know you're building it. If you say something and it's embarrassing, okay, you said it's over. No, it's not. Because you decided to worry about it. You decided to hold on to it. And so that's what you did with this beautiful, beautiful, higher vibration world that can be anything. You made it a horror show. You made it a complicated. You need Freud to figure the thing out. I mean, what did he do? Id, ego, and superego. They're so deep. I love Freud so much. Trouble is he wasn't spiritual, but he studied that VR that you built in there. What's the ego? Your avatar. You decided a certain experiences you had define you. That's what they say nowadays. What's your story? You know what the story should be? I am that I am. There, it's over. That's my story. That's my self-concept. That's who I am. Aham Brahmasmi. I'm Brahma. Shiva Hum. I'm Shiva. That's who you are. You have to make that one up. You're in there. That's who you are. I'm consciousness. But you made up this whole thing about who you are. I'm the person who won the award. I'm the person who did this. I'm the person that got embarrassed in fifth grade because they called me and I didn't know what to do and say it. My classmates laughed. It was so embarrassing. That's who I am. I am the experiences that I had that I didn't let go. I'm not the tree I drove by. I'm not the white lines I drove by. I'm not the person who walked by that I don't even know. But if I stored something in there and what's happening hits that, then I start defining myself. I'm a good-looking woman. Like the people they'll ask somebody, right? What is the age, the time in your life that you most identify with? Do you know what the right answer to that is? Come on, you're spiritual people. Now. What are you doing holding a you from 20, 30 years ago and saying, well, that's really who I am, but things have changed some, but I still identify with myself as that. Am I talking to the wrong people here? Now you understand psychology. It's something you did with this thing called your psyche that you built inside of this VR machine that can do anything. Okay? Like identify yourself as something special when you were 30 years old. Then have something happen. You met somebody, you fell in love at 50. Oh my God, it's so special. You got married. Now you identify with that. It's just thoughts. Your ego is just thoughts. Your ego is just patterns of thoughts that you held on to, sewed them together, and say, here I am. Unless you don't like me, then I'll change that. If you don't like it, I've ever said I can change. You can change. Your body is, no, I don't mean that. I mean, I can change because I made myself up. I can make up a new one. How do you want me to be? Tell me how you want me to be because I love you, and tell me how I want to be. I'll be that way. That's not who you are. So that's how lost in the VR you are. Do you understand that? You just made this stuff up, built the whole world in there, right? We're talking about ego. Ego is the part of experiences that you held on to. Your ego is not made up of the experiences you didn't hold on to. They're gone. You don't define yourself as that. I'm the person who drove by the white line when it was double. Okay. You don't do that. But the stuff you held on to, you start defining yourself as that. Then you sew it all together and you create this mask, this I. I want to know who created that mask. The mask didn't create itself. You in there who's scared. You in there who's lost. How do you like that? You're lost. We can talk about why you're lost and we can talk about how to be found. But you don't get found by building a fake mask, putting it in front of yourself, saying, here I am. I found myself. No, you did not find yourself. And it's very tenuous and it can fall apart at any time. And you know it can, don't you? Come on. Who has fear? Who has any social fears or rejection or failure or any kind of, are you kidding me? Right? That's behind it all. And so you basically get to the point you understand, I built this thing, then I'm hiding in it. That's what your ego is. The experience that you had in your past that you held on to, made a you out of, and then hold it in front of you and say, here I am, please accept it. And if you don't, we can change it, whatever it is. What's the id? In your mind, your body is not in your mind. Your mind doesn't have a body of that kind, of physical form, okay? But there is a body down there, and it has nerves, and it has a stomach, and it has all kinds of very bodily things, doesn't it? Animal things, basically. It's an animal. Well, you up there in VR world, you might forget about it. You might not feed it. You might walk into a wall. It's like, you're up here. You can do anything you want. Okay? And so it communicates to you. Where? Up. Oh God, it's so deep. Up there. The body knows it's hungry, but it has to tell you that it's hungry. The mind doesn't get hungry. Okay? But it says, I'm hungry. There you go. Lost again. That's what the id is. It is, in the first book I wrote, Search for Truth, back in 1974, I defined the id as the body's representative in the mind. It's like the body's ambassador. So you're off there doing something, lost, you're having a great time, and hello, I'm hungry. I can't say it down here, you're not paying attention. It has to say up there where you are. It's pretty neat, isn't it? So it's all this is just a VR that you built. And then the superego, I like that one altogether. That one's just beautiful. So I got enough, I got this body I got to deal with. And then I got this ego, I got to act a certain way. But then there's somehow something got in there, built in your mind, built in the VR that says, don't do that. You can't do that. You're going to get in trouble. No, that's wrong. You can't do that. Wait a minute. I can't be me talking because I'm the one who's doing it. I want to do it. You know what I mean? But what's that? Where did that come from? Your mommy put it there. The preacher put it there. Your first boyfriend put it there. Your girlfriend put it there. The teacher. You hear me? They impressed on you. They made you build part of your virtual reality inside your psyche that says, you're going to do what I told you to do, not what you want to do, not what your id says to do. There's going to be this overlord sitting in there giving you one hell of a bad time. Yes or no? But it's all in the same virtual reality. It's all in this world of the mind. It's just nothing. It's nothing. Like you sit there and say, well, how could he do that? Because his didn't tell him not to do it. It's just whatever you built in there. It's nothing. Everybody's just nothing. Do you understand that? Your ego is nothing. Your superego is nothing. It's just something that you're built inside this VR. The problem is you got lost in there. You put on those goggles and now you're walking around and you didn't get out. You didn't take them off. At what point are you so distracted by them that you forget that you're not them? That's where you are. That's what a human being is. Consciousness lost in this VR that it built and it thinks it's real. But yours is totally different than his. I don't care if you're married. I don't care how long you live together. Your VR is totally different than his. You have totally different experiences. You put them together different ways. Can you imagine for a moment that no one has the same thing going on in their mind as you do? No one. No one that ever lived, no one that will ever live has the same thing going on inside that mental plane we talked about, where you built that virtual reality as you do, and you're trying to get along with each other. It doesn't work real good, does it? You wonder why there's so much friction and tension and war and divorces, and you understand that. Which one of you don't think that your mind is real? Which one of you don't think your mind is right? Go march. You should march. I love it. I love that you're marching, right? There's two different sides. They both think they're right. It's not like one side says, I know they're right, but I don't want to walk over there. No, my way is right. How strongly do you feel that? 100%. Why? It's the only way you have in your VR. You built the entire virtual reality inside your mindset of all the experience you ever had. Therefore, I know they're right. I had the experience. I know what she's like. I met her. You met her. She's 43 years old. You met her for 5 minutes. You don't know a single thing about her. But first impressions are really important, are they? No, they're not. How could they be? How could it possibly be? You had bad pizza the night before, so you weren't feeling good when I met you. Gosh, you're a really low energy person. We're crazy. Seriously, that's insane, isn't it? So you have built this virtual reality. That's what you built inside your mind. You used your mind to build one, and you think that's reality. Don't you? And I've taught you before, one of the reasons you think it's reality is you have proof that my way is right. Here's the evidence, meaning the experience that I had support this truth. Of course they do. That's where you got the truth. You made it out of the experience, right? That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And now you're running around. I don't like this kind of person. I don't like that nationality. I don't like the redheads. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like women. I don't like men. Why? There's going to be a reason in there. And I'll bet the reason has something to do with experience that you had. How do you want to bet? And I don't care if it's a book you read, a movie you watched. You understand that? Is anybody listening? There's nothing that is real in that VR. It was made out of momentary experiences that you happen to have. I've talked to you about this so many times. At the same time you're having that experience, how many are you missing? How many other experiences are going on everywhere that you could have been having instead of that one? 700 billion zillion. And somehow you think that one experience matters. Just look to the left. You have a different one. Write a different one. Be in a different place at a different time. It's absurd. Do you see how crazy it is? that we think that what we're looking at in there is meaningful is completely unmeaningful, 100% unmeaningful. It's just you happen to have an experience. You could have had 700 billion other ones, and it would think differently in there, wouldn't it? Wow. Okay? That's what waking up means. You didn't wake up to your way is right. You didn't wake up to your husband's way is right because he'll leave you if you don't agree. Can you manipulate somebody else's VR? Yes, you can, can't you? You can't get in there. You can't literally get in there, but you can do stuff out here. You know what you can do? Create an experience that doesn't pass through when it gets into him or her. So they hold on to it. You're trying to do that. Don't you ever forget what I told you. If you do that again, I will leave you. I will leave you with nothing. I will take the children. Are you hearing me? Whoa, congratulations. You created a samskara. I made one, boy. All right? I made one inside of you. Can you do that? Do people manipulate people? Wow. So you're just getting in there to create a part of the VR. I'm going to make some minor adjustments. I heard you were dating so-and-so. Yeah, I am. We've been out quite a few times. How's it working out? Ready? It's a work in process. What the heck does that mean? I'm not through manipulating the person to be the way I want them to be? Is what it means, isn't it? Okay. Do people manipulate you? Yes or no? Do you manipulate people? Based on what? Based on your VR. You can't handle that they don't see the way you see it, especially if they're close to you. Your wife, husband, kids, they have to see it the way you see it. What if they don't? I'm not comfortable. Nothing works. It doesn't work for me. I built a VR that's supposed to be solid. I know what's going on. And all of a sudden somebody behaves totally different off the wall. How you doing? You freak. And the part of the freaks is actually the realest part of you. It's the part that built the VR. There's a reason you built that VR. You weren't comfortable in there. You needed to find yourself. You're lost. You're lost in there. But as long as your VR works and the world somehow matches at least reasonably the way you saw it, you feel solid. You're okay. I tell you an example. Take a right-hand turn into your street where your house is and have it not be there. How you doing? Is it fun? No, not fun at all. Then find out you turned down the wrong street. Oh, thank God. It breaks if your VR doesn't fit. If reality doesn't fit your VR, even at least reasonably, you break in there. Have you ever broken? Has it ever broken bad enough to where it fell apart? I think most of us had experiences like that in our lives. I love you, but I'm glad you did, because that shows how fake it is. And how comfortable was it when it fell apart? Whew. People kill themselves. People commit suicide. I can't live. I can't live without her. No, it's not worth it. I lost my job. I lost my status. I can't face anybody. Oh my God. I'm talking real, aren't I? Why am I talking about? I don't want you to live like that. You do not have to live like that. Period. You're the highest thing to walk the face of the earth. And you're doing that? Whew. So you build it and then you hold on to it for dear life because it's what you call reality. It can't be reality. It's made of the moments that you had. Nobody else had the same moments. Therefore, everybody has their own virtual reality. All right, does anybody understand why I'm talking about this? This is the essence of a spiritual discussion. We're going to feel good, good. Because if you're just going to go around, keep your VR and try to make everything match it, and that's what you call feeling good, I feel sorry for you. Because that's what's called suffering. You have to have it be the way you want. We see that all the time, not only. People have power and stuff, and they make everything be the way they want. Sure, they've always done that. Hitler did it. They all did it. So what's the alternative now that we've discussed? Do you get it? Do you see it's a VR? Do you see everything you visualize, everything you think, and everything are just made out of this world you made in there? Do you realize your world you made in there is different than everybody else's? How can it not be? Nobody had the experiences you had, and nobody interacted the way you did. Therefore, they built a different VR. So fine. What can we do about this? It's called waking up. We start with witness consciousness. What does that mean? You built that VR, guys, and you're scared to death. You are. I don't care what you look at me. You are scared to death that things won't match. There are people that are so rich and so powerful that cannot handle that anything isn't the way they want it to be. Everything has to be the way they want it to be, or they freak. They fight it. They force it to be the one. That's not strength. That's the ultimate weakness that could ever exist. What? I'm so weak that I can't handle things unless they're exactly the way I want them to be? What did Christ say? Sooner a camel should pass through the eye of a needle then a rich man will make it to heaven. There's nothing wrong with having money if you're helping people and doing all kinds of stuff. But there's nothing wrong at all. By all means, go work, earn money, and help everybody. But that's not what he means by a rich man. He means a powerful person that's able to manipulate and control everything to match what they want. They're living in hell as it starts. They ain't going anywhere. So, all right, what part of you built that thing? That's what I want to know. And you're so busy making it match. You're so busy just holding it up, holding that mask up there. You're not paying any attention. Remember I said there's a behind you? There's a behind your ego. If I get my telescope out there and it's got a little 1/4-inch aperture that I can look at stars and so on, right? And I get lost, imagine it's so interesting out there, I don't ever get back. I'm living out there. That's like a VR. I'm living in what the telescope sees. But I'm really looking through this tiny little aperture. There's a whole world behind me. Do you understand that? That's what you are doing inside yourself. You're just staring at you. You're staring at this. You who's staring are like me looking through a telescope. I don't have to. If I stand up, what do I see? The whole world, the whole reality. That's what's going to happen when you stop staring at your ego, when you stop staring at this virtual reality that you built. The first step back is called witness consciousness. What does that mean? Am I out? No, you're not out, but you realize you're in. That's all witness consciousness is. Oh, I'm staring at that thing that's talking to me. It's the easiest to see. Your drives, your fear, the physical animal stuff, right? You start noticing, wow, I got one of those. Do you have one? Do you have animal drives and animal instincts and animal stuff in there? Then your mind, what's your mind got to do with the animal self? I told you, it's just expressing itself in the mind. So you start watching that. Start noticing your behavior patterns. Start noticing what influence that's having on your life. Okay, fine. That's witness. Now you're not being it, you're noticing it. Let me ask you this. You have this thing called will in there. Will is what built the thing. Will is what built your VR. Can you withstand? You ate, you're eating, it's really good. I'll go to that one instead. You're eating, it's really good, and you know you're full, and you know if you eat more, you're going to get sick. You do it every single time. Can you stop? Can you apply will, if you really want to, and stop and override the tendency to eat more than you should? Yes or no? I can't believe you're not answering me. You got a long way to go if you're not answering nothing. I don't want to live in there with you guys. The answer, of course you can. It's this thing called intent. Are you willing and you really want to? Can you apply the will and have enough control, self-control, isn't it funny? Then it's called self-control. Oh, in other words, the control comes from back here, from where you live. For you who built this thing, for you back there are stronger than any impulse, any single thing, period. I don't care what it is. You're the strongest thing that could possibly exist. You are the self, but you're busy staring at this thing you built and you lost yourself. That's the fall from the garden. The garden is, I'm going to put on this VR so I can experience God's creation, and then I'll take it off whenever I want. I'll put it on, take it off whenever I want. That's beautiful. Very good. Now, you didn't fall from the garden. You're just experiencing the garden. What happens when you put the thing on and you forget to take it off? It's on there a little too long, and all of a sudden you become fixated and identified with what you're looking at, and you don't even know that you're in there. You don't even know you can take it off. That's what you guys are. You don't even know you're taking the thing off. But no problem. That's where a master is. Takes it off, puts it on, takes it off, put it on. All right? That's the fall from the garden. That's the return to the garden. You're already in the garden. You're just staring away from it. So basically, you wake up and you realize, okay, I've got animal instincts. Fine. I can deal with that. You can deal with it. You wouldn't be here if you had to be evolved enough to where you can at least deal with the lower stuff, at least reasonably. Okay? All right, now what? Now I have this superego. Why do I need somebody else's VR? That's what it is. But mommy grew up thinking, what the preachers, okay, whatever limit of experience they had has now been dumped onto my head and became an object in my VR. I'm not saying it's not right. You're welcome to listen to it. But not every single thing that ever dumped on your head is a truth that you need to be dealing with, is it? So you start noticing your superego. You notice that, God, you used to get guilty when it said something. You shouldn't have a beard like that. Hey, when I grew up, hippie boy, my father didn't like my hair. Are you kidding me? This is a whole revolution, man. What are you doing? Well, how can you succeed? You're weird. Hey, women, you wear your dress above your knee? There was a time in America or other places where you wear that dress just a little above your kneecap. Whoa, you're not a good woman. You're that kind of woman. That can be laid on your head, yes or no? Can they lay trips on your head? And are their trips necessarily right? No, but they're on your head. And you feel guilt. You feel shame. You feel scared. You feel embarrassed. Okay? Well, you get to the point where you've evolved enough to where you're not getting rid of it. It's there, but you're noticing it. Just like you notice the IDS drives. I see it, and they cause a lot of trouble, and I think I control that a little bit. What does control mean? Suppress? No, it does not mean suppress. Maybe that's a very important thing we're talking about. It's not, okay, I have these drives. I don't want to have them. I don't have them. I'm denying them. I'm pushing it away. There, aren't I spiritual? No, you're not spiritual. You suppress them. They're going to come back in spades. It's not suppressing. It's noticing, oh, I have one of those. Am I okay having one of those? Am I calm when I can feel some urges or tendencies come from the id, come up? Can I let them pass through, not deny them or push them away? There's the difference. Can I leave some food on the plate because I know it's going to make me sick and not have to fight it to do it? Welcome it. Okay, I see the tendency. And you basically let it go. That's what I teach. I do not teach pushing it away. I don't teach denying that it's there. I teach this there, fine. Let it come up. Let it pass through you. And that's what witness consciousness can do. Same exact thing with superego. Did mommy lay a trip on your head? Did your first wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Can you handle that when it comes back up? Not, can I deny it? I don't want to put up with that. That's just superego. No, no, no. It is not about denial or bypassing. It's not about any of that. It's about, I'm back here watching it now. I used to be in it. When mommy inside says, can mommy be inside? She literally, her voice can be in there. Literally wouldn't even be your voice of your mind. It's the voice of her mouth inside your head. Yes or no? You're not. Wow. It's just pure virtual reality that got built in there. What's the high state? I'm in here. I notice the id. I can let go. I can find a balance, but I don't suppress. Anyway, suppression not good. If you have to, hold it for a little bit because otherwise you don't have control. Fine. Okay, hold it, but then let it go. If you're in a situation, like animals fight to protect themselves, don't they, right? Well, as I say, somebody says something you don't like. It's like, chop their head off. Please don't hit them in the face. You can control that better. If you have to, control it by gritting your teeth, pushing it away, and walking away. Then when you have a little more quiet, let it go. Don't keep it in there. Or if you can be on the spot, which is where you'll end up. If you're a conscious being, you don't have to walk away. You have to grit the teeth. You feel it coming up, you welcome it, you let it go. While you're interacting, you're letting it go. While you're right there in the heart of the moment, and you feel that anger comes up inside of you, you just relax behind it, practice relaxing, and you don't have to hold it then. It passes through. And the same thing with the superego. People have laid trips on your head. You know they have. Nothing wrong with that. That's how it works. You were lost, so you held on to them. What do you do now? They're going to come back up. Relax through them. Relax through them. Well, how do I decide what I should be listening to? Ultimately, you don't listen to any of that stuff. You're centered behind, and you get your instructions from behind, and they're not in the VR. They come from you who's looking at the VR, not from the VR itself. So I laid this analogy. You see the difference? So me who's looking through that little aperture at the stars, whoever's out there doesn't get to run my life. I'm the one looking. That's called being established in the seat of self. Now, the big one is the ego. That is a bear to get behind and to find a balance in. Why? Because you defined it as who you are. Not what mommy did, not what the preacher did, not what your first boyfriend did, not what the body's doing. You said, this is me. It's hard to let it go. It's hard to let go of that. If somebody insults you, if somebody tells you, no, it's not true, you're not good at that, you know you're not. Ooh, it's like they challenged your existence. You have to get to the point. That's really the ultimate I want to teach you. I think at the end, there is going to be pain as you let go of that ego. Because you defined yourself as that. That's not just some third party. That's who I am. You did what Christ called build your house on sand. You built your house on something that's not real. You said, I'm this thing I made up. And now if someone doesn't match it, I have a lot of trouble. Well, what about literally one day stepping back enough to where you see that is obviously not me because I can see it. I can see my ego get defensive. Can you see your ego get defensive? Can you not act on it when it gets defensive? Now you're talking about a real deep center. Can you have somebody do something that really hurts you? Very personal. It hurts what you thought was going on. It was very destructive, very difficult, and breathe through it and realize, okay, people are different. They're different than me. I thought I saw them the same. I thought it's the same as me, but they didn't. Obviously, they wouldn't be doing that. And okay, that's how it is. And there's going to be pain. The pain of letting go. The pain of the fact that I built a whole structure here. Now I have to let go of it. Why? Because if I fight for it, what did I do? I kept my ego. I manipulated somebody else. Do you really want it? If somebody tells you, I just don't love you anymore. I'm sorry. I know I told you I would, and I told you I did, but I don't. Well, how do you want me to be? Please stay. You can do that if you want, but you really don't want to do that because they told you the truth. They told you, I just don't have those feelings. I don't know why they have them to start with. It's all pretty complicated in there. Do you understand that? It's just that you thought that it was solid. Yours isn't even solid. How can yours be solid? You just made the thing up. You have one more experience, it changes. Well, theirs is the same, but you don't, there's no way I'm accepting that. You have to be the way that I need you to be. You don't want that. That's not a relationship. That's a dictatorship. That's ridiculous. Now, from then on, you have to hold that relationship together. It's not natural. Now, that doesn't mean if somebody got in a space, you can't work with it, but there has to be an openness there on both parties. You don't want to sit there and manipulate people and make them be the way you want it to be just so you think it's the way you want it to be when you know it's not. Okay? Why would you want such a thing? Because I can't handle the pain of letting it go. You want to get rid of that ego? Take some breaths. Teacher, practice little at a time with little things. Little things. Start accepting that things are not the way you want them to be. The weather's not what you want it to be. Driver in front is not what you want it to be. This person just didn't act the way you want them to be. Practice letting go. Practice being open. Practice. And ultimately, I want you to wake up in the morning and say, I'm back. And I don't care what happens. If you know what the highest state? The highest state is I couldn't care one iota what anything does or what anybody does. But you know what? I'm going to do my best, even though I don't care. I'm going to do my best because I don't care. I can do my best. If I care, I have to manipulate and control everybody and everything to be the way I want. I have to waste my energy. But if I'm open, whatever happens, it'll be fun. Why? Because I can handle anything that will ever happen, period. That's what Christ was. Forgive them, Lord, they don't know what to do. I mean, it was the ultimate of the truthful teaching. I will handle anything, not my will, but thy will. And then you're not there now. Don't try to make believe you're there, but you can get there. How? By letting go of yourself. You just keep letting go little by little, but you still come down and do your best. Why? What are you going to do? Play a sport and don't care if you won or not. What fun is that? But that doesn't mean that you kill yourself if you lose. I love the fact that football, at the end of that game, they hug each other. That makes me cry. That's unbelievable. They beat the hell out of each other. There's blood all over the place. Good game, baby. That's beautiful. You be like that. You do your best because what else are you going to do? What fun is it not do your best? You do your best, but deep inside, it ain't real. That's why I teach what I teach you. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. You know how big that number is? 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And the sun is one of 300 billion stars in your galaxy. And you care what's happening? Give me a break. You must have built some serious VR in there. You get back there, then you come down and play. You come down and do the best you can. You help people, do a business, do whatever the heck you want. Doesn't matter. But don't make the VR reality. Reality becomes reality. And I want you to be where you know you can handle it. Not suppress it. Handle it. What does that mean? Whatever happens, I'll let go. I can let go. I can handle anything that will ever happen for the rest of my life. I would like to be able to say that for a mantra. I can handle anything that will ever happen for the rest of my life. It can pass through. I can handle it. If there's pain, I can handle the pain, whatever it is. And then come down and serve. Come down and do the best I can at whatever I'm doing. All right. Now I understand the VR. You got one? You got one? I painted it real careful for you this time. You're living inside the one, aren't you? I want you to be able to take the goggles off. Where do you take the goggles off? That's where the great ones went. What did they see? Ecstasy everywhere. All right. Thank you for listening. I want you to get out. I want you to be free. We call it liberation. Now you understand liberation? Liberation is taking off the goggles. Mayor Baba said, man minus mind equals God. You take those goggles off, you're merged. You merge with God. The consciousness is of God. It just came down and got caught staring at your VR. All right. Very good. Jagradev.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.